Hi, and welcome to Chats con Sabor. This is Linda, and I'm with my co-hosts,
Yvette.
Joanna.
and we have two special guests tonight. We have,
Randall, Kevin.
and we're just gonna be talking and getting their male perspective and a couple things. So this should be exciting.
Well, we have had Kevin as our special guest before on a different episode. We decided to welcome him back, ask him to come back and join us. And then we wanted our friend Randall's perspective as well. Um, Personally, I felt that they would be two good special guests to bring on together because of their age group, but also because they're both Southern boys. So,
Agreed.
so I just think it's going to be fun. So first question, or the first topic I want to bring up, Anna, Kevin, and myself, we're kind of having a conversation, and we thought this would be perfect for the podcast about the difference in how women protect men versus how men protect women. Do you want to start us off, Kevin?
Is the question, how do men protect women against other women or against men?
Both. There we go. Both. Because we were talking kind of about both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's whichever one you want to start off with. Take us away.
Whew. Okay. Well, when it comes to protecting a woman against another woman, I tend to stand back more, let that play out. There's not much you can do there, right? And Joanna's grown; she can handle herself, I feel. But when it comes to men, there's only one option there: assert dominance, make your stance known, and go hands on if necessary.
Mm-hmm. And so, what type of situation would provoke taking a stance and like coming in and feeling like she needs protecting?
If she gives me the look,
Okay.
if she gives me the look, or if I feel like that I'm being disrespected as the man in the relationship, that one tends to be more heightened in my opinion. That one I do not need her permission for.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the others I would look to her for permission to act first.
Okay. Joanna, has there ever been a situation where you feel like you look at Kevin and you're like, oh my God, I need your help in this situation?
Yes and no. I think that I have had situations where I have put that boundary, or I know that person and I know that they're harmless, and I don't read too much into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also get uncomfortable because I know that he's uncomfortable. So, and I read his body language. I kind of feel what he's feeling at that moment. And I know that if that person does not back off, he's going to intervene.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because I think sometimes, especially when alcohol is involved, I feel like sometimes the other sex kind of pushes it. I feel what he feels in that moment. So I try to de-escalate the situation before it escalates, because I know that he's now uncomfortable and he just wants to punch this guy in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like she said, to back the fuck off. And so I try to be very intuitive with what's going on around me. And if that other person doesn't get it, then I look at him and I'm just like, okay, I think you need to step in now.
Yeah.
Because they're not understanding.
Nope.
They're not understanding the fact that I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And he's here, and I make reference to him several times before I finally look at him. I was like, okay, I think it's time for you to come in and
make your presence known.
Yes.
Randall, same question.
Well, let's say for me, I don't think Linda and I have had that situation yet, being earlier in the relationship, but I guess kind of taking a step back with that, but in regards to guys approaching her in public or at the bar in those situations. And we've had these conversations where I know the gentleman's harmless in that sense, but still there's a respect from other guys that you have with their significant other.
Mm-hmm.
In no specific situation, but people, that come up, talk to her, hug on her, but don't address you. As a male, we want to be addressed. I mean, don't do it. At some point, address me. Acknowledge that I'm here. Acknowledge that you see me. But like I said, really for that, I mean, in the same situation for you guys, I feel like that's when you step in. Is if she's uncomfortable, you sense it's uncomfortable. But that's what us as men, we have to kind of feel it out and see if there's a threat or if there's not a threat. In that protecting situation.
And I kind of want to put a pause. I am going to come to you, and I want your perspective, Linda. But I wanted to put a pause because I kind of just jumped into it versus we did let Kevin introduce himself briefly on our other episode, but I did not extend that courtesy to you, Randall. So a brief introduction about who you are, your age, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, me, I'm a Georgia boy, born and raised. So I'm 40 years old. Always lived here locally in the North Georgia area. So born, raised in Cumming. Kind of moved over here to the Gwinnett County area, and here I am now. So still here in Georgia.
And Linda's significant other. Most importantly,
that's exactly.
What he's saying is, if you come talk to her ladies at the bar, you're gonna get it. That's what he's saying.
Or just say hi.
Just say hi. All right, back to you now, Linda. The same thing that I asked Joanna. Has there ever been a situation? I know the relationship hasn't been as long as Kevin and Joanna's, but you spend a lot of time together. You go out in different places. Has there ever been a time where you feel like you kind of have to give Randall the look like, oh my God, help?
I don't think it has happened yet. Not to that extent, just because I kind of like Joanna said, like I know whatever's happening is not really, it's harmless. It's really what it is. So yeah, sorry, I got nothing for you. We haven't been there yet.
That's okay. We were having this conversation earlier where we were talking about how, like, when people are in the bar setting, right? We're out having a good time, and all of a sudden you have men who are just had a little bit too much to drink, and they're feeling good, so they want to take their shot. And we get to that point to where us females, we think they're harmless because we see it as like, oh, they're just drunk, or they're just, whatever. Men, I think, are always like on alert. And while we're observant, I feel like they are really scoping out the place and then watching. Like, I'm just using this as an example for my ex-husband. Every time we go to a restaurant, it didn't matter. He could not sit his back to the door. He always had to make sure. Now he's a retired Marine.
I was going to say, I feel like that's a military thing.
I think so, but I do see it just in general with men. Like, they don't let the woman like walk on the sidewalk on the side of the street. They put them onto this other side, like almost like a protective type of thing. I know you're younger. I feel maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know.
I was going to say that. I feel like over time, some of that has been lost. And it's simply because daddies are not teaching their boys to be protectors. As simple as that. Or daddy simply is not at home. So how can you expect a boy to grow up to be a man and know to be a protector, to be, when they've never seen it, it's hard.
True.
Now there's a little bit of common sense, a little bit of this, yes, but you have to be in tune with who you are and who you want to be.
Okay.
Because a lot of times they just, might be selfish. They just don't care. They're not thinking about that, But I feel, and going back to one of our original episodes, when the man is under masculine, they're gonna want to be that protector, and they're gonna intuitive, they're in tune with themselves, and they're gonna want to do it automatically because that's who they are and that's their role.
Yeah. So Kevin, I'll ask you the question, and this is just kind of like a sidebar based off of what she just said. Do you feel like it's more of an intuition? You being 35 years old, do you feel like it's more like an intuitive thing that you're just, or was it your military background? Or
yeah, I was gonna say, that's a good point you brought up there. From that era of my life, conflict was always dealt with swiftly, and there's one resolution there. So being with Joanna, looking to her and seeing the facial expressions and things is my way of checking that. Because back in my 20s, there would be no conversation. It would just be straight, hands-on. So these days, I'm more of the harmless thing, that the harmless word, that kind of throws me for a loop, because as much as I try, I don't see any man as harmless. I see every man as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of weird to me, because I see where you're coming from with that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just something in me that any person that looks at her or is a certain way around her, I cannot secure that. Oh, he's just harmless, or it's like what we said at the bar, in my mind, women are secure with the fact of, oh, he's coming home with me, flirt with him, whatever. And, you and Sarah had that conversation, and I just can't get on that. And like I said, she's going to come home with me, but we're going to have to step over your body on the way, and a lot of me wishes that I could be, more mature in that aspect and see it that way, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. And there's almost something in me that kind of wishes for the day where it's justified, where I can actually show Joanna that, like, hey, no matter what happens, we're going to walk away from this and we're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the immature part of me is kind of already like, which one's it going to be, and I'm just like wishing a motherfucker would sometimes. Because as guys, Randall, you correct me if I'm wrong here, but that it's just that protector that, and me and Corey sit at the bar and talk about it all the time, how we position ourselves and it's almost a fantasy of like somebody trying something.
Please,
yeah, right. It's just in us to protect. And when we were talking earlier, I was thinking about watching our dogs go out to the bathroom. It's like AJ will go pee on the thing, and then Spartacus will go right behind him and pee on the same thing. And that's kind of how I feel. Like, this is my territory. You come over, you hug her, you say something to her. Now I have to come let you know, this is my territory. Get away from here.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're harmless. It doesn't matter if what your intentions are. I don't care. This is mine. Get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel. Do you feel any different?
No, it's the same.
Same. Do you feel like where it's more of like, because of the absent fathers and stuff, like men don't intuitively know, or do you feel like it is an intuition?
No, I mean, I feel like I'm at that borderline of that generation that still is that gentleman type. It's like, for me, I mean, my mother was remarried. I had a stepdad. Wasn't always involved. Like, I didn't see that loving family at home. So to me, I was pretty much, I was a mama's boy. I'm really close to my mom, but I saw but I stepped up in other areas to be able to do that, and saw that, hey, they're not opening the door for her to get in the car. They're not, hey, protecting her when we're walking in, opening the doors, and little things like that. I feel like that our generation doesn't do. It's more, they open their own doors. This is taking it back to that on a protective side, but that is protecting them. That's saying, hey, I'm here for you. I'm doing this little extra for you. I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that, but I mean, yeah, you see it a lot. Like, even with my brothers, they are not on that level of doing that, or I don't see that from them. But they, my middle brother, he's got the protective side, but it's not to that extreme of doing the little things that a woman's going to acknowledge, or that a younger, generation is going to really not appreciate, because they never had it done before. So
not just that, I know that back in the day there were classes. Like, it was not only about it was about education. It was about the right thing to do. The men walked on this side of the street. That, kind of like the right thing is using this spoon or put the napkin on your lap. It was, if you had class and you had education, you would know that this. So I feel like there's a little bit of a difference between men being protectors and men knowing or having the intuition to do those things. I don't think it's the same thing. I think we'll have to separate that, because I feel like there could be men that they don't open the door but still be protectors and still be,
Right.
I think there's a little silver lining there.
I think it's etiquette based.
Yeah.
The way, like Randall was saying, the things that he saw and stuff, and it's like he adjusted to that, and it's more of an etiquette thing for him, because he wants his person to know that you deserve this. I'm opening this door for you. I'm pulling out your chair for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are things that you deserve. And that's an etiquette thing.
Okay.
That's a growth thing to me. Because the world has gotten so independent. Women have gotten so independent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he opens the door for me. And in Jersey, why opened the door for me? I opened it for myself. And I walked right in. Now it's like, don't you touch that door.
That's why I said the Southern men.
Where I learned a lot of the things that I do for Joe by watching other men not do it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about being shown what to do. It was about, I opened the door for a woman one time and people looked at me weird. And then other women look at you like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh. So now I've learned, like you go to the bar. I pulled Joanna's chair out because every other guy doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
And that's my way of showing you peonces that you have no chance here without being physical. It's what I'm learning as I get older.
Yeah.
Now Joanna has a set standard.
Mm-hmm.
If Joanna leaves me and I don't find her, right, and chase her down and chain her to the radiator, I'm just saying, if she ever leaves me, right, now Joanna's got a list.
Yeah.
So the first time she goes on a date and the guy doesn't open the door, or the guy doesn't pull the chair out, or the guy doesn't rub her head while she goes to bed, or doesn't cuddle her or show her affection, you're way behind the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figured out all the things that you want or need because of other men not doing it. And I see the facial expressions. I see the body language of these women sitting by themselves at the bar. And it's not very hard to see. Wouldn't you agree?
No,
and I take very, very much pride in being different. And especially my age group. I'm the only one doing it. Besides Randall, probably. But even he's older than me. None of my friends do it. For a while now, I've done it in front of Joanna's youngest son, and I'm still waiting on him to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it tells me, even though they see it all the time and make comments and every single time you're doing it, it still doesn't teach.
Yeah.
It takes the woman saying, why aren't you doing that for me?
Set
or
the standard.
I would like that if somebody did that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm setting the standard and he sees it, he doesn't do it. So it's like, it doesn't portray the fact that it's taught. It just portrays the fact that Joanna's a Class A woman. She expects Class A treatment, and she's not going to settle for anything less. So I must meet that standard. So what does that standard look like? What everybody else isn't doing.
Yeah. I will say that being married to somebody in the military for, so long, my son, who's our oldest child, he's almost 30 now, but as a little kid, he was 5, 6 years old. I literally, as you're saying that, like, the doors for women and for people in general, he would always run in front of us. Like, he would see my ex, and open the door, and it was like, he wanted to be like dad, so he went and I opened the door for women and stuff. And oh my God, my son's like the cutest, he is, and he was like, we've talked about this before. I'm a little biased because he's my son. But when he was little, women used to just like melt for that. Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you. And it would irritate the crap out of me when people could walk out and just leave him hanging there. And he would just be like, aren't you going to say thank you to me? That was his standard. He knew, like, I'm being nice. The least you could do is say thank you, at least acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. And they would just walk out and just be whatever. And I'd be like, ugh. I'm glad that he picked up on that stuff, because I see how he is now with his partner, the mother of his children, and even with his daughter, my granddaughter. So my granddaughter's the oldest. She's 5.5. And then I have a grandson who's almost 2. But that's the way he is with them. And this little girl is getting like princess treatment because that's what daddy is setting the standard for her. So like you said, she's a Class A woman who is going to expect Class A treatment. And I feel like that's what my son's doing for his kids.
Well,
too.
Notice when you started telling that story, you based it off, he used to run up and open the door for women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So already as a little kid, that's in his brain that women appreciate that. Women have a response to that.
Yes.
So now he does it,
Yeah.
And it's all about the response. Randall, correct me if I'm wrong again. You do that your entire life. What happens with the first woman you run into that doesn't appreciate it or expects it? Or it's out the window.
Yeah. Like, no, I'm not going to be with her.
Yeah, it's out the window.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So it works both ways.
Absolutely. It's a two-way street.
That's awesome.
And Randall has a little girl. So
you do? How old is she? 12?
She's 12.
12, okay.
And I opened the door for her. When we were out, when we go to the gas station, I opened the door for her in the car. I mean, I do the same for her. You know, that's making her know that's what she needs to be.
Do you pump Linda's gas?
I've never rode in her car.
Okay.
Now, because he drives.
That's another thing. That's another. The first time I did that for Joe, her whole demeanor was like, I don't understand what's going on. And ever since,
computer malfunction. Wait.
Yeah, and ever since I do that, because it's just another way of showing appreciation, love, adoration. You know, and how many times you drive past the gas station and see a guy in the passenger seat and the lady pumping gas. You know,
it's very true. Yeah. I mean, I have to give it. There's a lot of things I could say about how my marriage went wrong. But chivalry was not dead in my marriage. I will say that. And I was treated like, you know, I was the top person. And even with my kids, he made it known, like, with my kids, mom is queen. She's up here.
Just like we talked about before, in my head, as soon as you stop showing your woman how much you appreciate and want to do these things for her, there's 10 lined up at the bar that's ready.
That's true. Yeah.
You have to be different. You have to be of a different caliber.
Set yourself aside.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm trying to keep us on track here because the topic was how men protect women versus how women protect men. So do you feel like you protect them in certain ways? Are there certain things that you as women do for your men that you feel is that showing that protecting you?
Well, I feel, and it's funny because I was going to bring that up when Joanna was talking. I feel like when Joanna was describing, okay, now I'm seeing that this person is not responding to my cues. Like, I think her doing her cues, letting the person know, hey, I'm here with my boyfriend, I'm here with whatever. That's her protecting the situation. That's her protecting him from acting, from getting upset. I feel like that, that's what I will do anyways.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just think I'm just fortunate that I have a resting bitch face. I'm not very approachable, and I'm sorry, I do. And people come and try to talk, and I look at them like if they're crazy, so they leave. So I don't think we're gonna have this issue. Now,
Randall, you're in the clear.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. I think as women, we tend to protect men emotionally.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The way that we address things, the way we speak, the way, we treat them. I think that's another way of protecting them. I'll say that.
I agree. And I think that that's a big thing, actually, because we were talking at the bar about, I was kind of like the only person that could tame Hulk, whenever he got to that point to where he was so enraged. And I literally would get between him and the other man. And it would just be like, look at me. Like, he wouldn't, because he was just seeing red, right? But I was there in his face, like, look in my eyes, trying to diffuse the situation, trying to bring him down and just make him focus on anything except for his rage, Not to say that he was, always enraged or whatever, but I did that several times throughout, our relationship. And so I felt that was me protecting him because if something happens to him, then it happens to me and it happens to my children as well. And that was always my mindset. I have to protect him
because of the military career.
Yes, because the military career, because he was the breadwinner, he stayed home with the kids or whatever for a lot of years. And just for many reasons, because I didn't want him fucking up. If he got into a fight, if he hurt somebody, if he killed somebody, like, that man could pack a punch. Like, he was strong. He was a very strong man. And then again, just with that rage, like that testosterone that all men have, I mean.
What do you think it was about you that stopped that?
Honestly, I don't know, but I mean, because I never.
He didn't want to deal with her at home.
No, I didn't. Sorry. I never would ask. Maybe you're right.
When we get home, we'll put the gloves on.
My chancla came off. Listen.
Well, I have a theory.
I think you were his safe place.
I think so too. I mean, honestly, I feel like when he would look at me, I just like I was his center. You know, I think I'm putting words in his mouth because him and I never really talked about that. So
now I was gonna say I'm curious to hear your theory.
Well, what calms me down when Joanna does the same thing is because I know that Joanna knows my potential.
Yes. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Randall is a threat to me, Randall doesn't know anything about me. He doesn't know the potential of what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
She does. So whenever she puts her hand on me, you know, hey, she knows what's capable, what the potential of this is, and that is her protecting me.
Yes.
That brings me back because I'm like, you know, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. This is a volatile situation, and we both know where I'm going to take this, and that's what saves me. So when you brought that up, it just
I kind of feel like that's what it is too, because like what I said, I've seen the man throw punches. I've seen him.
Well, like I referenced earlier, when you're dealing with somebody else in that kind of setting, and I said, you know, I don't remember what it was I said, but the proving part, I have nothing to prove to her because the potential that's in me, she knows my past, whatever have you. There's no proving. There's none of that there.
Right.
So when she gives me that look and puts her hand on me, that means she knows what's about to happen and it's not good. So I take that advice and I process that.
Yeah.
And there has been times where I've
bypassed it
for sure.
Yeah.
But she also knows that
step out of the way, woman.
That's well, that's happened once, twice,
and the girls have seen it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if it comes to that, there's no going back.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm acknowledging, I understand the potential, and I'm willing to deal with this potential because this is now way past, you know.
So I think for us as women, knowing that potential, knowing that you guys can get to that point, I know the way I did with my ex, I literally would do the same thing. I would put my hand on his chest, look at me. And then I would have a tone in my voice also where I'm literally diffusing. I'm bringing him back.
Does the same thing.
Bringing him back. I'm not adding fuel to that fire. I'm trying to come here. Like this is where we are. We're grounded. It's me and you. Come back, you know?
For Randall too, like if Linda ever looked at you and was like, deal with this, it would be get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
And then no questions asked, period, end of story. And I think that's what I'm saying. She understands that all that would take is for her to ask.
Yeah.
And it would be all she wrote.
And it's on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she understands that like this is not the type of situation that warrants that. So let me diffuse this before it gets to that. But if it ever does get to that, she understands also to stand out of the way.
Right.
You know.
How do you guys feel as men? How do you feel about like us taking on that role though? Like, you know, when Linda gets a certain look in her eye that you step aside and just like let her handle that shit because it's going there. Has that kind of situation ever happened yet or has?
No, not yet. No, I don't think that has happened yet. Other than maybe a look at me, I need to shut up. But, other than that, no, not really out there. Like I said, for us, I mean, but for us too, and like I said earlier in the relationship, a lot of the places we hang out are regular places that we know the regular crowds. We haven't really been exposed to being into a stranger area, really, to say. So, I mean, I'm sure there'll be situations at some point, and you know, kind of let you know and get moved back around to that.
To be continued.
I agree with the point of women protect emotionally.
Yeah.
And I think for guys, we're so emotionally unavailable till a later age in life, like I stated on the previous podcast, that all we really know is fist to cuffs.
Yeah.
It's like that's how you handle problems. It's how, especially growing up in an abusive household, you know, if I looked a certain way or said the wrong thing, it was pick you up, punch you in the nose, and, you know, do you have anything else to say? So now as a grown adult, that's the first thing I go to.
Yeah.
and I'm having to learn through Joanna being so emotionally healthy. Okay, there's a different way to handle this. It doesn't mean that that's not my first go-to, because it most certainly is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm able to, when she touches me, when she gives me that look, I'm able to say, okay, I'm probably being irrational here. I need to go home. This doesn't need to happen. I'm able to rethink that. When, quite frankly, I'm getting too damn old and stiff to fight.
Ouch.
Are you a threat to my life? We're going to handle that accordingly. If not, I'm going to go home and get into bed,
Take my woman and go home.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next topic that I want to talk about is there's a movie out there that I don't know if you girls have seen it or not, but I just watched it the other day and I thought, wow, what a great topic to talk to men about. The movie's called He's Just Not That Into You. And there was a book that was written
I've seen that
before.
Yes.
And literally the whole movie is about if he's not doing this or if he's doing A, B, C, D, E, F, he's just not that into you. If he's not doing certain things, he's just not that into you. So the topic is the myths and truths about what men think, say, and what they actually do, right? So are there things that men do, and this is from the male perspective, are there things that men will do whatever it takes to getting them bridges, getting your knickers, right? So are there things though that you can recall from dating or in the past where you just go through the motions, but you're really not that into her?
Well, for me, I'm going to say, that goes beyond the first date, though. Typically, the first date, you look at it as a male's perspective. Let's say in younger, what's the number one reason we connect? We connect on physical appearance, sex appeal, just attraction in general. So first, most cases, your first date is based on that. Your goal, that's your goal at the end. I feel like once you get into the date, you figure out, okay, there's more to it than that, So really for, I guess, the guys, what's the one thing I always say? I'll always tell her this in a joking manner. It's just saying is, if he wants to, he will.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, It's like, if I'm saying I'll do it, that means I want to do it, no matter what it might be. So I feel like that can kind of go further than that first date. It's hard for me to say the signs or this and that because every date's a little different,
Right.
So, that's kind of what I'd say. Like in general, that kind of sums up the whole thing for me. It's like if he really wants to, he's going to do whatever
he's going to do. Yeah. Okay. Kevin.
My opinion on it is you would find out a lot more if women would stop being so easy.
Oh, okay. So you think there's something to the whole don't sleep with him on the first date?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. Speaking from, how long did I chase you?
3 months.
3-4 months. You're going to know.
Yeah.
You're going to know. First date, you don't give it. Second day, you don't give it. Third day, you don't give it. You're going to know. Because if that's the only thing he's after, he's going to give it up. I mean, men don't pursue hobbies we're not interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I started off telling Joe, hey, I want something with you. Whatever. Whoa. What do you mean, whatever? Like, you don't believe me? No, I don't believe you. So what did I spent 3 months proving, showing, this is what I do want, which leads back to what Randall just said. If he wants to, he will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if women would stop being so easy, that would, you would answer that question a lot easier. Because nowadays, you take them out for a chicken sandwich, you should, and especially, I'm just saying. And then this is real deal. It happened to me in college.
Mm-hmm.
I met a girl at the tattoo shop. We went to Chick-fil-A. I bought her a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Wham, bam, thank you, man. And guess what? Never talked to her again.
She gave it up for a chicken
sandwich at the Dwarf House. I shit you not even fries. Not even fries, because I had to scrape the quarters out of my passenger side floorboard to buy her a chicken sandwich. But nonetheless, and guess what? I never talked to her again. Yet I chased Joe for 3 months, and I want to marry this woman. There's something about There's just something about it not coming easy that really brings out the do I want this? And it transitions into relationships too. Effort will be there if the man wants it. On the first date, of course it's going to be there. It's never not going to be there. Because why? Because we're after them britches. Most men are, you know. Yeah. But the real winner for a guy is going to be that guy that goes out on a first date with you, pecks you on the lips, tells you I had a fantastic time. I can't wait to see you on the next one, and goes home. Not Joe and I went on several days before we ever kissed or anything, and she made it very clear to me from the jump, like, hey, you ain't getting in them, like. And if I didn't want Joe as a person, I would have been out. Yeah, it'd been so easy just to walk away from that. So I think not being easy is the answer.
And Joanna, did you feel like was that a strategy to like see where he was coming from, or it was just, no, we're not going to do it until I'm getting ready?
It was twofold. It was not that I wasn't ready, but I also had the age thing going on because I was older and I knew what I wanted. And I didn't want to go through obstacles to figure out what he wanted. Mm-hmm. And I was clear with my thoughts and I was clear with my feelings, and he knew my struggles and he knew where I was at in my head. And I made that perfectly clear to him, but he still kept coming. And I don't know if it was a challenge, if it was something exciting for him, if the fact that I wasn't that easy person to come in and be in, because I dated for a while. I've been there and done that. Mm-hmm. And like we were talking about the music thing and how women are putting it out there in music, that is the power. That's not the fucking power, bro. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's who you are as a person, who you are as a woman. And if you have those beliefs and you believe in something, then follow through with it. Believe in it. Mm-hmm. Because the person that wants to be with you is going to be with you, regardless of how hard it is, how easy it is. But the one thing with Kevin was that there was a lot of clarity there. I was an open book. This is what's happening. This is what I just got out of. I don't want to go through this anymore. I don't want to date anymore. I want to be with my person.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I knew by her treating me the way she treated me? That every guy before me, she treated the same way. Mm-hmm. Randall, do you find an easy girl attractive?
No, I mean, there has to be some kind of, I think there's situations too, obviously, if you're connected with them or you've had conversation or you've been to that point with it, whatnot. But no, I mean, of course, when we're younger in high school and everything else, college, it's bam, that's how it was. It's accessible. I like to think myself of being different in that situation and looking at that. Obviously, that's on look.
It's not attractive at all to me. Not one bit. And I don't find easy attractive, and quite frankly, if it comes my way, I'm disinterested. So I differ from a lot of other men in that aspect. But I also too have a friend that that I referenced before. Get on Facebook dating and want a relationship, and then she comes over, wham bam, whoosh, never talks to her again.
Yeah, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy because it messes with women's psyche.
Yeah. It does.
And for some reason, women nowadays, especially in my age group, they think that is the answer. Yeah. And women love to say, "Oh, I've never done this with anybody else before." What do you mean you never wore lingerie or had somebody play with your butt? You're full of shit. You're full of shit. You're 35 years old. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm just saying. Oh my gosh. Shoot me if I'm lying. I'm just saying.
But as perfect as my partner is making me out to, I have had my moments
of weakness.
I was married for 15 years, okay? And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, dating. Okay, you try to find yourself, and I'm just being honest. As women, we try to find ourselves. We try to find what we like. We try to find what we dislike. We this and that, and you think that aspect of it has so much power when in reality, no, it doesn't. You just gave that person what it was that they wanted, and they can give two fucks about you.
Right.
You know, and then you're the one that's like, oh my God, he didn't call me
Why
back.
doesn't he like me?
Why didn't he call you back? Because you gave him what he wanted. Yeah. And unfortunately, Kevin was the one that came at the time that I was like, I'm not giving anyone shit.
Yeah.
If they want something, they're going to have to fucking work for it.
For Kevin.
And still working for it.
You know? And it just, because then I started really evaluating myself and connecting with what it was that I wanted in my future.
Yeah.
And what I wanted in life. Like, I want a ride or die partner. I want someone that's going to love me as hard as I love them. Mm-hmm. I don't want no half-ass shit anywhere. Mm-hmm. This is what I want. 15 years of it, I had the half-ass shit.
Yeah.
And nothing against my children's father or anything like that, but I was the one working all the time in that relationship. I was the one going to counseling. I was the one going to church. I was the one doing this, trying to feed a love tank that didn't want to be fed.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go through that again. You know, I've had my stumbles, and then finally it was that realization when I had my peace and my quiet and that I was like, whoever wants me is going to have to earn me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to work for someone that doesn't want to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want that empty relationship and me always pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and not getting anything in return. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that's what Kevin had to chase. But he didn't give up. So
there's just something about knowing it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's just something about
it's gonna be deeper.
Yeah. But there was an episode when we were in New Orleans. We went past a fire station and they were donating. They were donating some T-shirts.
I hate this.
Well, not donating, mind you. We're not even together. They were selling T-shirts. So,
in his mind, it had
in
been
my
2
mind,
months.
we were totally a thing.
And I go over, and the firefighters are there, and we're talking, and we're laughing, and this one is seething over in the corner. And I went and I bought a T-shirt because they were fundraising and all that. And he's. You could just see the steam coming out, and the guys are just like, "Oh my God," you know, blah blah blah. And this one's like.
Good thing you were at a fire station.
He's like,
I tell her all the time. I'm like, leave me, and you're gonna see a lot of firefighters. It just has to be on fire.
So funny, Linda. You've been a little quiet on this topic. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
I mean, I said it on Let's Talk About Sex, but you know, bringing it up was really not an option. Uh-huh. You know, you always had to wait, and I don't know. I feel like it really depends on the person and timing. I don't know. I feel chemistry. Like a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. You know, because I think as girls, we also think, okay, I might give it up. I know he's not gonna go anywhere, but I want to have a good time.
Yeah,
you know. But
you and Randall have an interesting story.
The way that I see it, he saved me because technically I met him through me going not really on a date, but on a meet with his friend that does everything and anything to drop the panties. So if anything, he saved me from that terrible situation.
Pump those.
I do want to say though, in like being new to the dating world again, because after my divorce, which was 8.5 years ago, I went on a 7-year sabbatical is what I did. No men, no sex, no nothing. I just did not want it. I didn't want to have anything to do with men because I wanted to figure out who the fuck I was.
I know you got close to Jesus, boy.
Woo! I got close to myself. I'll tell you that. But so I'm very new to the dating scene now because in January of this year, I broke my sabbatical, met somebody that I thought was worthy. And it was a good experience. It obviously didn't last because he's not sitting here with me, but good experience in the sense that he woke something up inside of me that I didn't realize needed to be awakened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, long story short, there have been times where as a woman, I'm like, you know what? I just need that. That is it. And you're not getting the authentic Yvette. You're not getting the Yvette that wants, the one that really wants to find true love and be with somebody for the rest of my life and all that jazz. Like, that's not the Yvette you're getting. That's it, So that's happened. But I do find it interesting when I think there have been a couple in this whole dating thing where a couple of them where I have actually felt the connection and I felt like communication was there, the connection's there. I really think this is going to go somewhere. And then it dies. And so I was actually telling my friend today, I was on the phone with him for a long time. And I told him, you know what? I said, I think because I took that 7-year sabbatical, I came into the scene now where he's like, Yvette, you came into a pool where everybody's broken. Mm-hmm. And I was like, holy shit, you're right. Because he's like, everybody our age now, they're getting divorced now because they're all in that. And you're already like so far ahead of them. He's like, you're not going to find anybody to date, not in that age group or whatever. You're probably gonna have to find somebody who's like either older than you or younger than you. Like a lot younger, but not in your age group. He's our age group. I feel like everybody's just like, we fucked up. So interested to hear what you guys think about that theory, what he said.
I've already told you what I think about that. I think you're looking in the wrong place.
Well, yeah, that too. But I mean, just in general though, not because I don't go to bars looking for love. That's not why I go there. I go there to hang out with you.
I'm not saying necessarily it's a bar that you're looking in the wrong place. It's more of like,
what's on her checklist?
No, just I mean, I bring the question up. The checklist isn't a problem. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a fantastic to know what you want. Mm-hmm. My only question from that is, where's that guy?
Yeah, that's my question.
Like where's the male version of a vet?
Yeah,
because he's out there. I mean, but where do you find him?
Wait, but hold on. Pause a little bit. I'm not looking for the male version of me. I can't handle me. I don't want somebody who's just like me. Like, same interests or whatever. Yeah. But I am a true proponent of and a believer that you have to have some opposite. Like, there has to be.
For sure, it's a balance. Like, where is the guy? Like, if you could create, where would he go? Where would he be? Where would he hang out?
I think he's in Europe. I think he's in Europe. Let's be honest.
We have to go and find him.
You never know. You might find.
Might be in Alaska.
You might find someone who listens to his microphone and says, "Oh my gosh, like, this is who I."
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know. I guess.
But do I think that you wanting that the subject of sometimes you just want that? Well, the guys do too. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think the key there is knowing that.
Yeah.
Knowing that this is just a one-time thing. I'm horny. I need some sex.
And communication.
Right.
Communicate.
With
that's what you're looking for.
That is what I'm looking for.
With yourself, more importantly,
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And we've had this conversation. The girls and I have had this conversation before, and that's exactly what it is. Like, sometimes you just have to have a need met. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just what it is, right? But yeah, I don't know. Were you going to say something? You? No? Sorry.
Well, Kevin and I, we do have things that we enjoy together, but we're also very different. Not just because culturally we're very different. But there's things that he enjoys that I just have no interest in. He loves to golf. He loves to camp. I want to glam.
Go glamping.
I want to go glamping. He wants to go camping. I want a toilet. He can pee and poop in his bucket. That's not my thing. That's his thing. So, but he's also okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather sit home and read a book or watch Netflix for 4 or 5 hours and then get up and start my day. Or, and he'd rather be tinkering in the garage, which is fine. But when we come together, we come together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's an important aspect in a relationship as well. Like you have to be okay with them being different and liking other things.
I agree when she says that, most people are divorced or fucked up or have, I'm all the above. What I have found with Joanna, right, going back to that male ego, a lot of times you get with women and you think that you are going to be the puller. You throw a line around her, you're going to pull her to your side. And this relationship has taught me very differently. At 35 years old, 9 o'clock, I want to be in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's certain things that she has, like you said, awoken in me. And I think that's the key, I think, for you. I feel like you're going to run into a guy who understands nothing about being healthy, about what a real relationship looks like, about boundaries, those type of things. But wanting you is going to bring that want for those things out. And sure, you're going to probably find a broken man in the beginning. I'm sure Randall had a lot of broken things about him, but would it be fair to say But
there's a lot of that.
But have you worked on or fixed or found things with Linda that you're like, man, like I don't want to go out chasing tail or whatever it is. Like, that's my point here. Sure, we're all broken and messed up and we have our issues, but when you come in contact with somebody who you want and you want that kind of relationship with, it's gonna bring out. I was thinking earlier, like, especially you understand being from Georgia. I watch guys, and myself too, from September to January, we're in the woods every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You will sit in the rain, you will sit in the snow, you will sit in whatever you have to sit in. You'll watch this deer go by, that deer go by, that deer go by. You'll sit in the woods 50 weekends in a row to get one shot at the one thing that you're looking for. And you'll give up everything in your life, all your buddies, all your friends, your women, everything you're looking for to get the one shot, the one buck, the one deer that you're looking for. That is a man that wants something. That will transition into a woman. That day will pass, that woman will pass, that woman will pass, that woman will pass. And he'll sit through the rain, through the mud, through the storms, through the cold, through the heat. He'll go back over and over and over and over. Man, they probably smell me. Next time he's going to spray. Man, I moved too much. Next time he's going to sit still. The key is not finding a man that's already fixed. It's finding a man that's willing to every single weekend progress, make progress, fix things, work towards that one woman, that one prize.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, you're going to get the man that you were looking for. It might not be who you find at the start, but men will fix and will go after what they want.
Makes a lot of sense. Like you said in the beginning, if he wants to, he will.
Has there been standards that you set in your own mind for Randall that necessarily he wouldn't know? That you were like, okay, let's see if he does this or...
No.
No?
No. I feel like I made that mistake in my previous relationship where I really wouldn't communicate and I had expectations of him that he didn't even know that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I decided I wanted to communicate, then it was like it was too late. Because then for him, it was like, oh, the list is never ending. Like, I'm never going to be good enough for you. So after, being in the dating world, whatever, and learning about what I want and who I want to be, I think, and it's not necessarily a checklist like they were saying. And I think last time I spoke a little bit on this. My thing is I have principles and values that I need, because I feel like if you have that, that will translate into actions. Okay, a lot of times I feel even as women we like to nag and pick at little things instead of actually finding the root problem of why is it bothering you? Is it really you or is it him? And once you figure that out, then you can say, okay, you did this and this bothered me, but the real reason why it bothered me is because whatever, you were hiding something from me. And it's really what it comes down to is you were not being truthful. Whatever it is, it's really about the principle. So I think in this case, I've made very clear my principles to him, because I don't want to do it again. I don't want to waste another 12 years of my life working on something that we're not really working on. So I think it's important to me to set the standard from the beginning right now. Number one, we're going to work in this relationship, and it's going to be constantly, it's going to be all the time, because you have to be happy. I have to be happy. You have to be my safe place. I want to be your safe place. Let's make this happen. But we're only going to be able to succeed on that if we're communicating, we're open on what is it that it's important. Mm-hmm. And like I said, and that's why to me, the values and principles is what really matter, because it has to be things that are important. Because if not, then you're really literally just nagging.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say something she sent me from the beginning. That's always something that we always look at. It's just something from Facebook or Instagram somewhere, but it says something is like broken people can be in relationships. You can work together to be in a relationship. You don't have to be completely healed in order to be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. So that's the one thing is, whatever reason, we're all broken for different or have flaws for different reasons, whatever our previous relationships or whatever may have. It's going to be different on what you have. It's going to be different on what the other person has. But just because you have issues, you want your healing stages or whatnot, doesn't have to restrict you from being with somebody. But you have to let your issues known. You got to let each other know what your issues are, or communicate what you see as a red flag or see as something. Hey, this happened to me in the past. I don't want this to be a contributor. Are you willing to work on it? Mm-hmm. If he wants to, he will.
If he wants to, he will. Oh my gosh, that's going to be our motto. We're going to tattoo that on our If he wants to, he will. We're going to make shirts.
Sometimes you heal each other in a relationship.
That's true.
Well,
that's true.
And we don't know. Not everybody knows what our true issues are. I mean, we as men, let's say, speaking as men, just for me, is you get into a routine. We talk about routine. How I get stuck in it. There was a long time. I know what I'm doing Saturday morning. I can laundry, clean, do this. We block out. I mean, we hold in everything we do anyways. We already don't talk about our issues. Mm-hmm. It's that we hold it in. We don't even know what our real true issues are. We need somebody who cares about us to tell us, hey, I need help here. Mm-hmm. You need, I'm here to help you. Lean on me, So you need a partner to help you get, be fixed, or, I'm using the word fix because it's, or being broken, but just progress or to better yourself. Grow.
I think for women on the other side of that, it's important not to accept the brokenness as acceptable behavior too.
Yeah, correct.
Because every relationship prior to this, I've never been checked. I've never been told this is unacceptable or this is not the way we do things or, blase, blase. And this one I have. And then this one I want it. So it's like, okay, well, if I want this, what do I have to do now to fix this broken thing? So it goes back to, if he wants to, he will.
If he wants to, he will.
It's the saying of the night. I mean,
yeah. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. I have Linda here who is going to do our words of wisdom.
All right. If you want to live a peaceful life, you have to be willing to walk away from every person and every situation that brings you stress.
Okay. I'm like, okay.
In other words, people, if he wants to, he will.
If not, walk away.
Throw the deuces.
Roll the dice. Wait, time out. Let's dissect this a little bit. Let's dissect just take a minute here, because I think that it actually makes kind of sense. And it's not necessarily from every person. I think that's the key word there. Every person. Or every
We know Linda's
situation.
expectations.
We're gonna be very lonely.
Oh my God.
Get roller skate, you're out.
That makes me stressed. Nope. You're not.
You breathe the wrong way. You're out. You're stressing me out.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Kill me with that.
Okay, there. This is a better one.
Can you get the message that I sent you? Why are you keeping me up?
Welcome to our world.
Where the fuck is your phone? Where the fuck is your phone? Oh my God. I was like, wait, I'm supposed to.
I sent you the picture.
Girl, that was like how many hours?
Oh my God. Okay, here's my real message.
Linda's gonna lead us in some words of wisdom.
When you're nervous about stepping outside of your comfort zone, remind yourself it feels scary because it's unfamiliar, not because you're incapable.
Okay.
Love it.
Love it. And don't forget, if he wants to, he will.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us on Chats con Sabor.
Peace out.
Adios.